and welcome back to more Super Mario Kart, where last time we played through the Flower Cup on 50cc, and today we're going to be playing through the Star Cup on 50cc, and we're going to be using Peach. That should be okay. And let's just get this show on the road, because there's no cards to pick this time. We've managed to finish first place in both the Mushroom... Well, okay, I was going to say we managed to finish first place in both cups until this point. Not really true, because I only finished first place in the Mushroom Cup after finishing the episode. As in, I went back after the fact to go retroactively finish it, but in the episode we finished second, so... But, you know, I think we're still doing alright. I think all things considered, we're still doing alright. We finished first in the last, in the Flower Cup, and we finished second in the Mushroom Cup. So, you know, I think that given all things considered, we're doing alright for my first time playing Super Mario Kart, given how the controls are. So, I think we're doing alright. And yeah, the goal is to finish first place. Even if we don't get a perfect score, I don't think we need to get a perfect score. I think we just need to get, in first place to unlock a Special Cup. Because I really want to play Special Cup. Obviously, I want to play all the cups and all the CCs that you can play all the cups on. Because I don't believe this game has mirror mode. Thankfully, I believe this game only has 50cc, 100cc, and 150cc. So I believe once we get to 150cc, we will be done for this game. We can move on to Mario Kart 64. Which we'll cross the bridge when we get to it, because some of the N64 tracks are great, some are not so great, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they were in their original form. But of course, that's a few weeks away. We still got to get through this one. Also, I think I mentioned it before. I just want to reiterate: still not a big fan of the whole 5 laps per thing. I think the pacing. I get that the laps go by much faster in this game than they do in the other games that have SNES courses, but I still think I like the pacing better when it's three longer laps as opposed to 5 more fast-paced laps. That could just be a personal preference, but I definitely prefer the 3 laps as opposed to the 5 laps. Anyway, so I guess I should talk to people about some stuff, shall we? So let's talk about something that someone asked me about was the concept of it was all a dream ending. And what I think about that and whether it can be used well. So generally speaking, I would like, my blanket advice would be to not do it, because more often than not, like, the stigma associated with it was all dream endings is, well, just like it says, oh, it's all a dream, and none of it ever, why did I just get bounced in that direction? And none of it ever actually happened, woohoo, and that's not really what you want to aim for. But I do think it can be used well sometimes, not typically, like, generally speaking. If ever, why is Peach just constantly hopping like that? If ever you see a story that uses the "it was all a dream" cliche, it's not usually with good context associated with it. Like, usually it's because it was executed poorly. But I think it can be executed well. And my go-to example of that is going to be Batman Arkham VR. Now, admittedly, I can't really give full context for this one, because I've had people recommend that I play the Batman Arkham games previously, and I've considered it, I just never actually sat down to do it. The only Batman Arkham game I've actually played is Batman Arkham VR, so I might, to anyone who's watching this video who can give more context, feel free to let me know in the comments. But to my knowledge, because, spoilers for those who don't know, but Batman Arkham VR ends with an "it was all a dream" ending, but not in the sense of, like, because Wizard of Oz is just, Dorothy wakes up and, oh, no, it was all a dream. Spoilers for Wizard of Oz in case you cared or didn't already know that. And at that point, it just makes you wonder, so why did we bother then? Like, what was the point of all that? Like, why did I bother watching that if it was all just a dream? And nothing, it was all... Because in a dream, literally anything can happen, because it is not bound by any rules when it takes place inside your dream world. So definitely not a fan of that. But Batman Arkham VR recontextualizes... I'm gonna rewind, that was an annoying bump. Recontextualizes the events of the game. Maybe not Batman Arkham VR. Well, it recontextualizes the events of that game. But the manner in which the dream is utilized, it recontextualizes that in the context of the other Arkham games, by which I mean, to my knowledge, there's something about, I can't really talk about this in depth without giving too many spoilers, but there's something about the way one of the story arcs plays out in one of the other Arkham games, or maybe it was one of the character arcs, I'm not entirely sure, something like that, is recontextualized by the fact that Arkham VR is, for the love of God, the stupid fireball, by the fact that it is all just a dream. And again, as someone who hasn't even played any of the Arkham games, I could be wrong about that, but I believe that is how that plays out, and that the dream of that game gives context. I guess you can think of it as in, like, if if the Arkham games were a movie, Batman Arkham VR would be the nightmare scene. Like, for instance, in Toy Story 2 when Woody has his nightmare scene, the Batman Arkham VR would essentially be the Woody's nightmare of the Arkham games. I think this is my broad understanding of how that works. So the point of this long ramble I'm going on is that you can write an It Was All a Dream ending in a way that recontextualizes the events of the movie and the events outside the dream to where both still matter in a way without nullifying one over the other. It's hard to do and it's rare, but it can be done. It's just, like I said, very rare. So I wouldn't strive for it. Like, for instance, Mission Impossible, as an example, this is gonna sound off topic, but I promise it does have a point. Mission Impossible Fallout and the first Iron Man movie both started without a finished script. They both started filming without a finished script. And in the case of Mission Impossible, because Iron Man was basically, they just improv their way through most of that script, which is really, that is not the direction we need to go there, Pete. I don't know what I was doing there. They improv their way through most of that script, which is mind-boggling to think about how a lot of, like, 90%, maybe 80% of that movie was just improv. Like, they had a rough idea of how the scenes would go, but they just made it up as they went along for the most part. That's impressive that they could do that, but that is not something to strive for. You don't typically want to start without a finished script. In the case of Mission Impossible Fallout, the way that worked is they started with the stunts, as in, like, we want Tom Cruise to fly a helicopter. We want Tom Cruise to perform a halo jump out of a plane and do it for real without green screen CGI and, like, actually jump out of a plane. Which, by the way, the behind the scenes of how they made that halo jump and how they actually had a guy jump backwards out of the plane with a camera strapped to his head, and how Tom Cruise had to know the exact distance that he could fly up close to the camera to get the perfect shot, but without actually causing a head-on collision to the camera guy. Just, like, insane. The amount of dedication that man has to his craft is absolutely worthy of respect. But the point being, they started with the stunts, and then after they worked out the stunts, they focused on, okay, so now how do we tie this all together into a coherent narrative? I would not recommend you do that. I would always recommend you start with a script first. Like, get your story out on paper, get your characters on paper, get at least a rough idea, like, how is the story going to play out, what is the script going to look like before you start filming. I'd always recommend you do that because that's more likely to lead you to success. It's possible to make a great movie without it, because Mission Impossible Fallout and Iron Man are both incredible movies. But they succeeded in spite of that complication, not because, like, they didn't succeed because they started without a finished script, they succeeded in spite of it. So I would never recommend someone start filming without a finished script, much the same way that I wouldn't recommend someone write an It Was All a Dream ending. You can do it and you can make it work well if you put the time into it, but generally speaking, I would not advocate for it for the most part. So that's my thoughts on that. Again, there's also a chance that people who actually recommended these aren't even watching this series, which is going to be the big sad, but I hope you are. I hope that if you recommended this, that topic to me months and months ago back in September, you're still watching this video so that you could hear my response to it. If not, well, you won't hear me anyway, but I am sorry, excuse me, that you didn't get the chance to hear the response. And something else someone asked me in one of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe videos, towards the end of the series, was what of my thoughts were on the Mario movie. I think it's kind of redundant for me to answer that here because I've kind of made my thoughts crystal clear. But in case anyone doesn't know, I guess I can provide a brief recap since, well, we are playing a Mario game, so it seems pertinent. Even though it's months-old news at this point, I think I'm still going to mention it because the movie's not come out yet, so anyway. For those who don't know, Chris Pratt is Mario, and that's like the worst casting choice anyone's ever made. I don't know how the hell that happened, but it did. And really, I think there's other bizarre casting choices in there as well. Not just Chris Pratt. Like, obviously that's the most obvious example of what the hell were you thinking with this casting. But I think there are other instances there which are just kind of head scratchers. But the thing is, it's easy to meme on the, I don't know how that happened. It's easy to meme on the Mario movie because Chris Pratt is voicing Mario, and at that point it's just like, but like, why though? But I really didn't have any faith in it even before the casting was properly announced. I still had no faith in the movie being good because it's made by Illumination, and Illumination's track record with movies is not very good. They made one great movie and then a bunch of mediocre to horrible movies. The only movie they've ever made that was really exceptional was, well, maybe that's I think I'd say that Despicable Me is a pretty damn incredible movie, all things considered. I think I still rate the first Despicable Me pretty highly. not like a masterpiece or anything, but still a very highly rated movie is what I would say. It's still pretty good. That was their big success story, and then they realized, oh, Minions make money. Minions take no effort. We make money with no effort, and then they realized that they don't have to try anymore. So, Despicable Me 2, I think there is still something good there. I mean, it's clearly nowhere near as good as the original, but I think that there's still quality to be found within that movie, even if it's on a lesser scale. But then after that, it's just, anything after that is just either painfully mediocre, or just painful, as in, like, this is the worst thing anyone's ever created. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Illumination as a company. I don't know why, I find it utterly bizarre that they are the ones in charge of carrying the Mario movie across the finish line. Speaking of which, it has crossed the finish line. I did not plan that at all, but it worked out. So, I never had any faith in the movie being good just because of Illumination. And granted, Illumination, I have to say this, Illumination could surprise me. They could blow me away. Maybe they'll knock it out of the ballpark and completely surprise me with some incredible movie that we all don't know is coming. I strongly doubt it, but I guess I can't write them off too soon. So, you know, there's that. It is possible that it could be incredible. I just don't think it's going to be, so... I mean, but then again, I didn't think the Sonic movie would be any good, and then it kind of, you know, defied all my expectations. And while I still wouldn't say it's like a 9 out of 10 or anything, I'd say solid 7. 7 out of 10 movie for Sonic, which, by video game movie standards, is like giving it an 11 out of 10, because video game movies have an abhorrent track record, both in terms of movies based on video games and movies about video games, such as Free Guy, which is a terrible movie. I think really the only, one of, if not the only movies about video games that immediately springs to mind that I think is good is Wreck-It Ralph, because Wreck-It Ralph is just like lightning in a bottle, a really incredible movie that I absolutely love to watch. That's like I said, lightning in a bottle. I don't think we're ever going to get another video game style movie on par with Wreck-It Ralph ever again. I think that was our one shot, and we got it, and it was great, and we're never going to get it again. Because if Free Guy is indicative of what Hollywood views the video game industry as, we are screwed forever. Especially if, like, Free Guy's getting a sequel, which, just shoot me now. I am very cynical about, because there's also, there's video game movies based on games, such as, you know, the upcoming Mario movie or the Sonic movie. And the Sonic movie is the exception, not the rule, in terms of just the absolute filth that has come out of Hollywood in terms of video game movies. And then there's movies about video games, like, you know, your Pixels, your Ready Player One, which I know was a book first, but my point still stands. Your Ready Player Ones, your Pixels, your Free Guys, and your Wreck-It Ralphs. And again, Wreck-It Ralph, exception, not the rule. It's not, we're never gonna get another Wreck-It Ralph. We can hope, we can pray, we can dream, but it's all gonna be for naught. I think, because if Free Guy, if people love Free Guy, Rotten Tomatoes, which, again, for those who are new to the channel, I don't view Rotten Tomatoes as a source of valid support for like, if you're going to try to argue to me a film being good or bad, I don't consider it valid to say, well, if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, everyone loves it or everyone hates it. It's like, yeah, I don't care what, first of all, it's a crap measure for judging movies anyway, because all it tells you is, because in order for a movie to be considered fresh, it has to be 6 out of 10, which means that if a movie has a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, or even 100%, it could literally mean that everyone who voted it fresh voted it a 6 out of 10. But that's not, they don't show you that. All they show you is fresh or rotten, which means it could literally be that everyone thinks that the movie is 6 out of 10, which would not be considered fresh by any reasonable standard, but I just don't think it's good at all. But people, if you go by that, then you can think that people, and even the Metacritic score as well, like, people really loved Free Guy, and it's just mind-boggling that people think that's an accurate representation of the game industry, and it's kind of annoying, actually. But what can you do, I suppose? Anyway, first place. How about that? And a flawless first place at that. Granted, please, for the love of God, please do not comment saying, well, you didn't actually win because you used the rewind feature. I swear I might actually smash my face into a glass wall if that happens. That might actually break me. Yes, I used the rewind feature, I admit it. Whoop-de-doo. I really don't care. I gotta be honest, I just don't care. We finished first. We done diddly did it, everybody. And yeah, so that should unlock Special Cup, because my understanding is that all you have to do is get first place in all the cups, and then you unlock Special Cup. So we should be good to go. we should be ready to dive into the Special Cup next episode, which I'm excited about. I'm excited to see what the Special Cup has to offer. Now, granted, I'm not super into it because, for the most part, every course is just a variation of one another. There was that one exception today where we had the ice level. That was pretty cool. That's probably my favorite track we've raced in the game so far. But everything else has just been a variation of Mario's Circuit or Bowser's Castle or Ghost Valley, something like that. So, Oh, also the beach one. Beach one was cool too. So, you know, not obviously we're gonna get Rainbow Road in the Special Cup, which I'm kind of dreading. Honestly, I'm not super excited about how that's gonna go, but we'll see. Anyway, that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time. I hope to catch you all tomorrow for some more Super Mario Kart. Goodbye.